So, what can we do? What can you do? You are in the best position to do something about it. Most of you are parents. We're all struggling as parents. And I've heard some stories from parents who just lay down the law, they just say, this is how it's going to be, and they stuck to it. But most of us are having trouble doing that. So what can you do that would really make it easier for us? Let's start with rolling back the phone-based childhood, because there's no point in giving kids more freedom in playtime if they have all their devices. They're just going to sit outside and do Instagram. So you have to get them off the devices. You have to first roll back the phone-based childhood before we can restore the play-based childhood. So what I'm trying to do in the book is lay out 4 norms that will solve collective action problems. A collective action problem, or a commons dilemma, is where if any one of us does the right thing, like I tell my daughter, you can't have a phone in 7th grade, and she says, but everyone else does. I'm isolated. I won't know what's going on. And so it's hard for me and my family because she's the only one. But what if half of the kids, what if half the families did it? Well, then it would be easy. Because all she can say is, but Daddy, some of the kids have phones. That's not a very compelling argument. So if we could just establish these as norms, guidelines, these are minimum standards. No smartphone before high school. It is insane to give a distraction device, an experience blocker, basically, to a child, especially when they're just beginning puberty. Now, yes, you want to be able to text your child, you want to be able to communicate, give them a flip phone. Flip phones are great. They're made for communication. The millennials went through puberty on flip phones, and that's why they're okay. Gen Z went through puberty on iPhones and Instagram, and that's why they're not okay. Second norm, no social media before 16. I'm not saying 16 is a safe age. It still will cause some damage, but not nearly as much as at 13. Right now in the US, the law says the age of internet adulthood is 13. That was set in COPPA, had nothing to do with mental health. It was about when kids can sign contracts with tech companies to give away their data. So it was set to 13 with 0 enforcement. As long as Meta doesn't know that you're underage, they're fine. In fact, until recently, when you go to open an account, they suggest that you were born 13 years ago, and then you can change that. So let's raise the age to 16 and then enforce it, and thank you to the states that are doing that. Third, and this is the easiest one and the most urgent, this is the one you can get done by September, which is phone-free schools. It's completely insane to allow phones in schools. I'll show that in a moment. And then I'll get to the next, the more free play we'll get to in a moment. So I wrote an article in The Atlantic called Get Phones Out of Schools Now. I reviewed all the evidence on what happens when kids have phones in schools. I mean, if some kids are texting, everyone has to check, otherwise they're left out, and everybody else will know something that they don't know. That's why, as we heard Ian say, kids used to go to the bathroom a lot more when they're not supposed to take out their phones, but they had them. The only way to stop kids from checking their phone is a Yonder pouch or a phone locker. If you just say, as my kids' schools did, oh, we have a phone ban, you're not allowed to use your phone during class, you have to keep it in your pocket. That would be like a heroin recovery clinic that said, you can take your heroin into our facility, but you must not shoot up in the bathroom. So there are all kinds of harms that come from kids having a phone in their pocket. So already it was referred to this morning, I think Ian referred to it, that NAEP scores dropped off because of COVID. You can see that drop there, right? We're all concerned about that, and that is a big drop. But actually, the drop began after 2012, because once kids have a distraction device in their pocket, they're not capable of paying full attention to a teacher. They're not capable of paying full attention to the kids sitting next to them in the lunchroom, because they have their phone in front of them. They're all multitasking. Nobody is fully present. There's a beautiful line from Sherry Turkle at MIT. She said, because of our phones, we are forever elsewhere. So, and it's not just academic progress that tanks when kids have phones in their pockets. It's also social belonging and inclusion. So buried within the PISA survey, a friend in New Zealand alerted me to the fact that there are 6 items about loneliness and belonging in school. And what you see there is that from 2000 to the 2012 administration, there was no real change in how students responded to that. This is the percent who responded above a certain threshold on 6 items like that. But then what do we see? By the 2015 administration, most of the kids have smartphones, and now they do feel lonely in school.